तथा सप्तदशे जातः सत्यवत्यां पराशरात् चक्रे वेदतरो शाकः दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
In the 17th incarnation, Jataha advented Satyavatyam in the womb of Satyavati, Parashara by Parashara Muni, Chakre prepared Vedataroho of the design tree of the Vedas, Shakaha branches, Drisva by seeing, Umsaha the people in general, Alpamedasaha less intelligent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Avechananda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation by of Godhead, Sri Vasudeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati, wife of Parasharani, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Translation with repetition. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vasudeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati, wife of Parasharani, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches. Saying that the people in general were less intelligent. Particularly, the Veda is one, but Srila Vasudeva divided the original Veda into four, namely Sama, Yajna, Krik, Adala. And then again, they were explaining different branches like the Puranas and the Vedic language and the subject matter are very difficult for ordinary men. They are understood by the lying and self-reliant Brahmanas. But the present age of Kali is full of ignorant men. Even though were born by Brahmana fathers, by the present age, no better than the Shudras, alone woman. The twice born man, namely the Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishyas, are expected to undergo a cultural purificatory process known as samskaras. But because of the bad influence of the present age, the so-called members of the Brahmanas and other higher order families are no longer highly cultured. They are called Vijabandhu and friends and family members of Christ Father. But these Vijabandhus are classified amongst the Sudras and the men. Srimad Bhagavatam divided the Vedas in various branches and sub-branches for the sake of the less intelligent classes like the Vijabandhus, Shudras, and the men. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta part. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namaho Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukha Bhakti Vachanam Pangam Langaka Kirimet Kripatam Mahadev Shri Guru Dinatanam. So, we are discussing from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam having 12 cantos. Just like we are discussing the canto 1, which tells about the creation. Of course, the 10 topics of the Bhagavatam are spread in all the cantos. But each canto is named with a specific name. So the first canto is named as a creation. There is a 12th canto, the last canto, is also mentioned. His name is called as Kala Yuga Parva. It's Srila Prabhupada translates it as the age of deterioration. So as we think, we are all in the age 21st century, we are all advancing, a lot of advancement, technology, so many things. But how Shastra is looking at much 5,000 years before, it's calling this age as age of deterioration. Because in this age, there's one thing is constant, that is degradation. So that's why Srila Prabhupada can mention it as an age of deterioration. So at the end of Dwapara Yuga, so Lord Krishna disappears from this world. As Lord Krishna disappears and all others associates who came to part in Lord Krishna's pastime, so they also disappeared. Entire Pandavas, Yadukula, so Yadavas were all disappeared. So as the Lord is disappeared, the moment the Kali Purusha took over, that became the in charge of this earthly planet. So that's from that point the Kali Yuga began. So as Kalipurusha is taking care of this entire yuga, what are the qualities of this yuga? What happens in this age? It was foreseen by sages much before. In the 12th canto, in detail, it explains about degradation or deterioration which happen at different stages of Kali Yuga. Now we are in the first phase of Kali Yuga. It's called Pratamapada. If you go to Panchanga, if you see the Panchanga takes two dimensions. One is the time and the one is the space. Just like how you location, and if you go Google location goes for only for the space. It won't consider the time. But when you say Panchanga, Vedic calendar sees from the two perspectives. One is time and space. So according to that, so this particular the age of Kali, where we are here, this particular place is under the influence of the Kali Yuga. So in this Kali Yuga, what happens? What are the symptoms? It is mentioned that Ittam mevo kalo nunam janmachara gunodaya dharma nyaya vyavasthayam karanam balayevahi. In Kali Yuga, so what is considered as sign of man's good birth is not like it's some person who is having the money, person having good qualities. No, that he is not considered as a good man. The person who is having the wealth is considered as a good man. And further it says, Dharma Nyaya Vyavasthayam means of the Nyaya, Dharma, law and order. It depends upon what is right, what is wrong, depend upon what. Justice will be given on based on what? Justice will be given on the basis of power. Recently, as we seen in one of the High Court judge's house, there are a lot of bundles of money was found. So thing is, the court decision, judgment is purchased. And who has more money, he can purchase the decisions made by the court. So further it tells, men and women will live together merely for bodily attraction. See what is that today's live-in relationships? It's already 5,000 years before mentioned in Bhagavatam. And how the men or women is judged, men and women judged based upon their ability to enjoy the senses. Who is a more man, or better woman, who can have more enjoy the sex, is the best man or is the best woman. So, and in this way, it speaks about lot of things about Kali Yuga, and also tells what will happen at the end of the Kali Yuga. At the end of the Kali Yuga, the age will be reduced. If a person lived some 50 years, that is the maximum duration. Now how the maximum duration of a person is 100 years. So in future, at the end of the Kali Yuga, maximum will be 50 years. And after 30 means 30 years old person means is old. Already you'll be skin, you would have got some wrinkles, grey hair, and bodily strength would have reduced. So maximum by 30 years you'll become looks like a person like a 60 years old person. And it says considerably the person's human being size will reduce. If you see when Satya Yuga and Dwapara Yuga, other yugas, they used to be very tall. So in Kali Yuga is already reduced, so it's going to reduce even further. And it says not only the human being, even the trees of size also will reduce. It's like there is one plant called Shami plant, Shastra says. It maximum some 2 or 3 feet height. So all the trees will be of that size. So whatever we are seeing, we are not able to see such a kind of nature at the end of the Kali Yuga. And it says cows will be size of the goats. What is the size of the cow? Cow will become to the size of a goat, so small. And spiritual hermitages will be no different from mundane houses. There is no difference between normal house and the spiritual ashram or hermitage. Everything will become same. Clouds will be full of lightning. No rain, only lightning. And at that time, all human beings will have become like asses. Almost it's happening now also. Even a human being is working like an ass. There is a competition going in the corporate world. Somebody is saying that in a week we should work for 72 hours. Somebody is saying, no, 72 hours is too less, at least 90 hours one should work. So man is already working like an ass. So this the scenario. And in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, the sages of the Naimisharanya expresses their concern, their anxiety to the Sutta Goswami. Says the qualities of the entire the Kali Yuga people, they summarize in one verse. Says Prayen Alpa Ishyo Sabyo Yuge Asmin Manda Kalo Asmin Yuge Jana Mandas Manda Matayo Manda Bhagya Upadrutaha. All the problems of the Kali Yuga people are explained in one verse by the sages here. So nicely says, O learned man, learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have short lives, they are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. See, always disturbed, unlucky, misguided, lazy, and in between a lot of quarrels. And life is also very less. So, in this scenario, how people will take up spirituality, how they will progress. So that was their concern. And further, what is the reason for this degradation? And why this degradation is so rampant? Because in another Mahabharata it's mentioned that in Kali Yuga, people have almost everyone is suffering from 5 kinds of ignorances. We are so ignorant, we don't know what all types of ignorance we are suffering. So Shastra mentioned what are the 5 kinds of ignorances which everyone is suffering. Actually, ignorance is a suffering. So it says, first thing is accepting the body as a self. This is the first suffering. All suffering starts from here. However, maybe no one is exempted from this suffering. Great politician, great scientist, great poet, whoever is. Everyone thinking themselves as the body. Means he is suffering. And next, when you make body as you consider you as yourself, then what will happen to next? You make sense gratification as your standard of enjoyment. What is your standard of life? I want to increase my standard of life. And what is that increasing standard of life? Increasing standard of sense enjoyment. Nothing else. So there are many surveys which announcers do research and they declare that happiness index. So what is that happiness index? It's a sense gratification index. In which country there is a more sense gratification, so there is on top. It's not happiness, it's a sense gratification. Which country has more facilities? So when we consider body as a self, we will make our sense gratification as a standard of our enjoyment. So then, when we make sense gratification as standard of our enjoyment, it leads to lot of anxieties. What if I not get the enjoyment which I wanted? What my enjoyment is taken by someone else? Or okay, I am enjoying, but I am seeing another person is enjoying more than me. So that also creates anxiety. No, I should enjoy more than him. So that third symptom, third kind of ignorance is being anxious due to material identification. So because we consider ourselves as a body and because of that identity, it leads to an anxiety in a person. And then when anxiety, some things are not gone as per our understanding or our expectation, that leads to lamentation. So in that lamentation, that's what everyone, if whatever is expected is not getting, then he will lament. Or whatever is having is losing, then also he will lament. So lamentation is what we see every time we see in this world. So then another kind of ignorance final is people think it's too much intelligent, materially contaminated intelligence. They think that so there is something beyond even absolute truth. Not beyond God also there is something exists. There are people who are lot of do mental speculation, who are so-called philosophers. They are not ready to accept the God. There something say even some things are beyond God. So that is a fifth kind of ignorance. So keeping in all this ignorance and Kali Yuga effect, the concern was how people will take up the process of self-realization in this age. Because the purpose of human life is self-realization. Otherwise, a human life has no meaning. The person, the body, human body and animal body, everything almost same, all functions are same. But human body is meant for self-realization. Human civilization, the goal of human civilization is the self-realization. So the sages were concerned about how this will happen in the age of Kali. And their concern is, it looks like there is no scope for the people of Kali Yuga to take up these things. Everything is so adverse. So how they will take up? So that was a matter of concern for the sages. So that's why, so being compassionate on people of most this degraded age, the Vasadeva, at the beginning of this Kali Yuga, at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, he compiled Vedic literature. So what is this Veda? Why he has to compile Vedic literature? Why he has to put it into a written form? Till that point, all the Vedas are only in the verbal in Shruti. Guru used to teach to Shishya. Shishya was so potent, capable because of his purity. I used to lead a good pure life. Because of that, once teacher speaks, he used to able to hear, understand, and always able to keep in his memory. This is important point. It is, if a person has a good lifestyle, naturally his memory will be good. Memory is connected with the lifestyle of a person. Why now we need so many devices, gadgets to keep even small things to remember? Because our lifestyle is not proper. Because of the good lifestyle, what will happen? A purity in person's existence will increase. Purity in thoughts, purity in actions, purity in desires will be increases. So when there is a purity, naturally memory level increases. So these Vedas are the set of the codes or the knowledge which tells for all types of people. All types of people, all people of all different varieties of consciousness, and people of all times, not only at one particular point of time. For people of all times, all ages, and people who are in all situations, all different varieties of situations, how they can understand or how they can realize the path of absolute truth. That's what mentioned in the Vedas. So if Vedas are not there, this entire this existence, it's useless. That's why when the Lord created the universe, and along with the universe, He gave this knowledge of Vedas also. Lord created the world and immediately gave the Vedas also. Just like how any company produces some product, and along with the product immediately gives the manual. So this manual is so vast, so humongous, so big, we cannot conceive. And today, unfortunately, hardly few % of that knowledge is available on this earth. He says, what all put together Vedas is put together is what? Is mentioned. There are Vedas, earlier there was a one Veda. So some scholars say as a Atharva Veda, some scholars say as a Rig Veda, whatever that, irrespective of that, there was a one Veda. And that one Veda was divided into 4 Vedas, as mentioned in the purport, Ruk, Yajur, Sama or Atharva. Each Veda describes about different aspects of the material existence. And these Vedas were further divided into some subjects called Brahanyakas, Aranyakas, Samhitas. See, every day every Sunday we read Samhita, Brahma Samhita. Samhitas are one kind of a knowledge aspect, belongs to Vedas. 4 Vedas were further divided, each Veda was further divided into it. And further it was divided into Upanishads. How many Upanishads are there? How many Upanishads? Mainly 108. But as per Shastra, there are 4,000 Upanishads. But among that, prominent is 108 Upanishads. And also, there are Puranas. Puranas also many. In that main are 18 Mahapuranas. And Upapuranas are there. And 545 Vedanta Sutras are there. Vedanta Sutra means in a very short formulas, but coded with a very deep knowledge.
that can be expanded into a big book. One code can be expanded into a big book, just like Atato Brahma Jigyasa. It's a one code. This human life is meant for self-realization, to realize Brahman. That is one code. Like that 545 Vedanta Sutras are there. So, this entire, the purpose of Vedas, as I told, it's meant for every human being. How it is meant for human being? You may ask, see, in that case, what about the people who are following the other religion, Abrahamic religion, Christianity or Islam? What about them? Vedas belongs to them also? Yes, Vedas meant for everyone. Even whatever their extent, some little extent they are following, that is also the instructions are part of Vedas only. Very basic, very elementary level, preliminary level, some moral codes. Do not kill, do not steal, do not harm, some kind of things. But they're following in their own way, according to their own time, place and situations. So in that way, Vedas is meant for everyone. How it is meant for everyone? Why? Because Vasudeva was aware if there are human beings of 4 lakh kinds. Human beings of 4 lakh varieties. Among 84 lakh, 4 lakh types are who? Human beings. On what basis these divisions are happened? On what basis? Consciousness. On the basis of the consciousness, beginning from a person who is very, very ignorant, who is living in some forest, till up to the Brahma. Brahma is the topmost living entity with consciousness matter. So there are 4 lakh varieties of human beings. So then, how it is belongs to everyone. Just like if there is a college, or if there is one university or a school. In a school, there is a first standard child and as well as a 10th standard child. School is for everyone. Anyone who goes to first standard and admits in the school and start learning something, gradually one day he will come to 10th standard. Same way, Vasudeva was formed this entire Vedic literature, compiled this Vedic literature in such a way, anyone who start following some element of it, one day gradually elevate his consciousness and come to the highest level of understanding. And what is that highest thing he has to achieve by studying the Vedas? If he doesn't achieve these 3 things, then his studying of Vedas is a failure. If you understand these 3 things, even though maybe he is following some other religion, then his understanding, his life is success. What is that? It says the entire Vedas can be understood, Vedic meaning can be, the purpose of Vedas can be summarized into 3 words. This is what our Acharyas have done. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they summarized everything, make it very crisp and make it very easy to people to understand. So that is Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. Sambandha means anyone who studies Vedic knowledge, from that he should understand that I am Atma, Lord is the Paramatma, I have a relationship with Paramatma. That's called Sambandha. That is the first thing you need to understand. That's what every Shastra is meant for. So then, once you understand Sambandha, what we do? Suppose we establish a relationship with one person. What we do next? A boy and girl come together and married. What they will do? They will serve each other and try to develop a relationship. Right? So they do certain activities which by that relationship can be developed. In a business, two different people comes together and they will do some activities, transactions, where that business can improve. Or sometimes if there no business, no such transactions, they just go and give some gifts to another company, their clients, because they don't want to develop a relationship. So that's called abhideya. Sambandha, abhideya. Next, abhideya means developing the relationship with God. And okay, after developing, why we are developing? There is some purpose, some goal, ultimate goal. That ultimate goal is prayojana. We want bhakti, we want devotion. So that is the prayojana. So this sambandha, abhideya and prayojana are the three important, the main goals of the Vedic literature. So in Kali Yuga, one of the most important thing is the living entity is conditioned and it forgets the relationship between us and the God. Actually, the ignorance means what is this? It's a forgetfulness. We have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. So that's why the Vedic literature is very important. Literature with this purpose, it again remembers that relationship which we have with Krishna. So if reading some scriptures, if the relationship is not developing, or you are not remembering Krishna, even though it is some part of Vedas, that is not successful, your reading is not successful. So Vyasadeva did all this compilation, divide these Vedas into these 4 parts and all these Upanishads, Puranas with this purpose. And it was humanly impossible activity. A ordinary human cannot do that. That's why the Supreme Lord incarnated as Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. So Vyasadeva is not a person's name. Vyasadeva is a post. Just like how we have a sun god. Sun god is a post. Who is the sun god? Current sun god? What is the sun god's name? Vivaswan. Same way, in the beginning of this Manvantara, every Manvantara means duration of one Manu. So in every Manvantara, there will be one person will be nominated as Vyasadeva. So in this age, the Krishna Dvaipayana become Vyasa. So it's called as the Krishna Dvaipayana because he was born with a dark complexion. And he was born in the island in middle of 2 rivers. That's why it's called as a Dvaipayana. So to do that very humongous activity, the Lord has personally has to come, and he actually is a Krishna's is a Shaktya-vesha avatar. Shaktya-vesha means where an ordinary living entity gets an empowerment from Krishna. And that's how that incarnation is called as a Shaktya-vesha avatara. So here Vyasadeva's everything is, his birth, his life, his activities, everything is inconceivable. For us today, at this point of time and to understand all this compiled by one person, it's inconceivable. But Vyasadeva did it. So even Lord Vyasadeva's birth itself is an inconceivable. The every activity, whatever he has done throughout his life, everything is a we cannot, ordinary mind cannot conceive it. So as mentioned in the verse, the Vasudeva's father, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa's father was Parashara Muni. Who is this Parashara Muni? Parashara Muni is not an ordinary person, is one of the great 7 sages, Saptarishis. So, once, what happened in the beginning of during the Dwapara Yuga, there was one king by name Upachari Vasu. He was the very powerful king, but once he went to forest to hunt some animals. At that time, he saw that 2 animals were engaging in some sexual intercourse. By seeing that, he got agitated and he discharged the semen. The semen which discharged by him, that somehow enters into a water body. In that water, there was one fish, and that fish, that semen enters into the body of that fish. So over a period of time, that fish becomes pregnant. Because these all things are happening for the great, some Mahan, great personality to descend. So these all some uncommon things are happening. So after some time, one fisherman comes and fisherman catches that fish and he cuts that fish. By that time, the baby in the womb was grown. When he cut the fish of that, cut the body of that fish, there were 2 babies in that fish. One was male, other one was female. Somehow it comes to knowledge of the Upachari Vasu, and he comes and that fisherman hands over that male child to that Vasu, and there another one girl, female, he keeps with him only. So that's that girl is Satyavati, the mother of Vasudeva. She was born in the womb of fish. Because of that, even though she was grown up, she was very qualified lady, lot of with great character, great qualities. So even though she was very beautiful, but always she used to have from her body, wherever she goes, they used to smell, a kind of a smell used to come, that is the smell of a fish. That's why she called as a Matsya Gandhi. Satyavati's another name is Matsya Gandhi. So at one point of time, this Matsya Gandhi was assisting his father. His father is a fisherman. Fisherman is, his job is along with fishing. He used to also help the people to travel from one end to another end on the river, one bank to another bank. So at that time, Parashara Muni, the great sage, comes to that place. Somehow Parashara Muni happened to meet Satyavati, and Parashara Muni was a great person, is one of the great 7 sages. He is aware, so Satyavati is a great lady, and she has appeared for some particular purpose and divine purpose. So then he requests to Satyavati, so for that purpose. So he wanted to place his seminar on her home. So Satyavati agrees. But Satyavati tells, so I have one condition. Even though you can do this, but my virginity should remain same. So how if a woman is giving a birth, how her virginity will remain? So Parashara Muni agrees, because he knows what purpose Parashara Muni also has to come to that place, and what purpose Satyavati also came into existence or manifested. So they know, and they engaged in the activity. In that activity, the Lord Vasudeva enters the womb of Satyavati. See, these all activities we cannot compare with an ordinary person. How ordinary person does, engages out of force or urges, pushes, weakness, conditioning. No. Parashara Muni, Satyavati are not of that category. They know the purpose behind their existence. So, Parashara Muni placed his semina in the womb of the Satyavati, and Satyavati impregnated, and after that immediately, it's not like 9 months, 10 months waited, and not like that. Immediately, the Veda Vyasa grown up in the womb and came out of the Satyavati womb as a grown up person. Vasudeva comes out. And Vasudeva also knows why he has appeared. He has appeared not to be with mother, father, take care. No. Immediately pays respects to his mother and tells mother, I am going to forest. I am going to forest to do meditation. And tells Satya mother, whenever you have requirement, any help, please call me. Wherever I am, I will come to help you. So tells this, and Vasudeva walks. See, his birth itself is amazing. If you see many such characters, we can see in Mahabharata, Draupadi, her birth is unique. She has not appeared ordinary through any process. That's why our activities were also exemplary. We cannot imitate. We cannot put into our rules, our space, our dimension, how they can do this, how Parashara Muni can do this. They are belong to a different dimension. So, that way the Vasudeva appeared, and after Satyavati got there is another king by King Shantanu. King Shantanu, once he came to forest and again he happened to see Satyavati. Satyavati was very beautiful. He got attracted by Satyavati and he goes and proposes to Satyavati. And Satyavati's father was a fisherman. Then she told, please talk to my father. So then he tells, okay, I want to marry. The king is asking to marry one fisher girl. Then the fisherman tells, no, I cannot give my daughter to you. Why? You already having one son. Who is that? Bhishma Dev. If my daughter marries, then again after some time he will be king. Bhishma will be king. So then he can tell, no. Then again Shantanu Maharaj goes back, and then again Bhishma Deva comes to know about this. And Bhishma Deva comes to that fisherman and asks, see, why you are not giving your daughter to my father? Then this is the reason. Then Bhishma Deva takes a vow that I won't marry. That's why Bhishma Deva gets a name called Devavrata. Devavrata means among all the vratas, most important vrata is Brahmacharya vrata, topmost vrata. So he has taken that vow of Brahmacharya. That's why it's called as Devavrat. So then again after some time, again Shantanu's and Satyavati's marriage happens, and they get the two children called Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. So Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. But again sometime Chitrangada went to forest and he was killed by another one some person, some devata, and this Vichitravirya will also die because of his sickness. Before that, what happens? Bhishma Deva goes to the one kingdom, Kashi Raja, somewhere. He, in his Swayamvara, he conquers the three princes. And he brings the three princes. He conquers on behalf of his brothers, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Actually, he wanted them, these princes should marry this Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. So he brings them, but in that two are agreed to marry with Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. But another third lady was not ready to marry the Bhishma, because you conquered her, I want to marry you, not your brothers. So then Bhishma Deva tells, see, I am already taken a vow, I cannot break my vow, I cannot marry. So then she gets upset and she wanted to take revenge on the Bhishma. That's another story. So in between Ambika and Ambalika get married to the Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, and later in course of time these two personalities passes away. So now Satyavati, Shantanu Maharaj also passes away. Then Satyavati start thinking, who will next take care of the kingdom? There are no any kind of progeny. So at that time, Satyavati remembers the promise given by Vyasadeva. He calls Vyasadeva. Oh my son, please come now. So Vyasadeva was in Himalayas, he was doing meditation. So as soon as Satyavati remembers, Vyasadeva comes to Hastinapura. So then what he asks Satyavati, so to get a progeny in the with the Ambika and Ambalika, who were the wives of Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. In olden days, this kind of the procreation was accepted by the Vedas. If any king is not having a progeny, he can get son from his brother. So that was only for the kings or who are for such a great personalities, not for ordinary person. So it was allowed in the Vedic age. And then again Vyasadeva comes, and Vyasadeva want to engage with the Ambika or Ambalika, one of them. So by seeing that the form of the Vyasadeva, because Vyasadeva was not so beautiful, he was a sage with doing a lot of austerities, and he was not so beautiful. So by seeing that girl, Ambika closes her eyes while interaction. So because of that, she gave birth to Dhritarashtra, who is a blind. And then again, the prince, second queen, also engages Vyasadeva with not so this thing, with a good intentions or not so feelingly. So because of that, she gave birth to a Pandu who was having some kind of weakness or who has short duration of life. So then finally, when another one opportunity came where instead of Satyavati understand what is happening, then she sends one Dasi, and the Dasi very nicely interacts with the Vyasadeva, pleases him, and because of that, that Dasi gave a birth to Vidura, was a very learned, very scholarly. So then that's how the entire this Mahabharata pastime starts. So how Vyasadeva played a very important role in all these things we can understand. And main important here, the literature given by Vyasadeva is most important literature is Srimad Bhagavatam. Even after compiling all these things, Vyasadeva was not satisfied. Then at that time Narada Muni comes, and Narada Muni asks him to exclusively glorify the Supreme Lord. So that's how he compiles this Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the essence of the entire Vedic literature. So see our condition, even we cannot take up that essence. That's why Srila Prabhupada came, even to present that literature in an easy way we can understand. See how much acharyas are doing to help the living entities. But as a Kali Yuga Lakshana, we are lazy. Lazy towards what? Lazy towards spiritual knowledge. That's how Prabhupada, in many of his lectures, stresses in many of the conversations or in the letters which he wrote to his disciples, he stresses very much on reading of his books. Otherwise, if you won't read, medicine is there. Doctor has given medicine. If you won't take the medicine, disease won't get cured. Especially we do many things, but finally the most of the time we ignore is that is reading of Srila Prabhupada books. Least offense. Chanting हो गया, बाकी दर्शन हो गया, बाकी सब कुछ सर्विस कर लिया, टाइम बचेगा तो all our least preference is for the reading. So no, we should be very eager to know what our spiritual master has given, what our spiritual master has mentioned. So in one of the letters, Prabhupada mentions that. So when a devotee who comes, a new devotee, comes in touch with Prabhupada's teachings and quickly takes up Krishna consciousness with very short period. Then he writes a letter to Prabhupada. So at that time Prabhupada replaced him. I am very much pleased with your nice handwriting and the purport of it. You have so quickly picked up the importance of Hare Krishna movement and are so much eager for propagating Krishna consciousness. Anyone devotee quickly takes up Krishna consciousness, naturally want to quickly give to others. So it looks like this devotee also very eager. So Prabhupada was very happy. That means you are already recognized by Krishna. See, anyone is taking up preaching activities means Krishna is recognizing them. Not only when your preaching is success, Krishna will recognize. When you start preaching itself, Krishna will recognize. In your previous life, you must have cultivated Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is telling about that devotee. How are you? Why you picked up so quickly? Means in previous life you must have done Krishna consciousness. As we learn from Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that it is said that a person who does not reach the final goal of Krishna consciousness is again given the opportunity to fulfill the mission of achieving perfection. So my request is to you is that you should try to complete the process of Krishna consciousness in this very life. Okay, in previous life did not complete, don't take another chance, complete in this very life. So my request is that you should try to complete the process of Krishna consciousness in this very life without waiting for another term of cultivation. Of course, a devotee either in this world or in the spiritual world, his connection with Krishna being fixed up, is equally happy anyway. But so long we are in this material world, there is a constant allurement of Maya and sometimes we fall victim. So wherever we are, we get connected to Krishna, but thing is, we are in the world of Maya, we make victim at any point of time. So what to do, how we can remain, how we cannot be, what to do to not to become victim of Maya? So try to understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness by reading our books and literatures, and next as not only read, next what Prabhupada is mentioning interesting, discussing amongst the devotees. What we are reading, everything whatever we do among the middle of the devotees. This is very important. And same thing Krishna mentions in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, says the devotees, one who talks about me, devotee discussion among each other, that was very dear to me. And discussing among the devotees and chanting Hare Krishna mantra as much as possible. Wherever there is inquiries, you can write me directly. I shall try to reply them. So this should be the center of our devotee association, culture. Wherever we are, what we have learned, sharing, exchanging, hearing. So in that way, the devotee will never be victim of Maya. In another situation, another one devotee writes, he has some issues, facing some problems, some disturbances in his life. So Prabhupada writes to him in reply, do not be disappointed if sometimes your mind gives some agitation. In our mind, always agitations will be there. So such agitation is only temporary and will be driven away by chanting. So chant loudly whenever there is some disturbance and hear the transcendental sound attentively. Study our literature with the help of other devotees and render some devotional service in the temple or Sankirtan party. As your heart becomes more and more purified by the chanting process, you will feel constant happiness in Krishna's service, and at that time, Krishna takes all the sinful reactions from the devotees, thus protecting him from all distress of life. So, today, as per our Vedic calendar, today is a new year. It's mentioned in the Shastras that today is the day Brahma started doing creation. That's called Yugadi, Yuga Adi. And some another references says today is the day and today is the early morning auspicious Brahma Muhurta time Lord Krishna departed from this world. Lord Krishna departed from this world, that's how Kali Yuga also started. Yugadi. And in the beginning of the creation, Lord Brahma started creation on this day. So very auspicious day in that way. So we all should take this opportunity, every opportunity to take some commitments in our Krishna consciousness for our progress. So read Srila Prabhupada books nicely, understand Srila Prabhupada books nicely. So that will help us, all of us. And that's, if reading is there, always a fresh thoughts are coming inside the mind. Otherwise, we are dealing with whatever the kachada we are having in our mind. What is continuously going on? Already kachada is there. We're just dealing with that kachada only continuously. He told this, why he has told? How to remove this kachada? We cannot remove the kachada by another kachada. So we can remove kachada only by adding the fresh things. Where is the freshness? Where is the newness? Freshness and newness is there in Prabhupada's purports. You feel rejuvenated, you feel fresh, energetic, and you read Prabhupada's books. So how we will become a new transformed person? Because as new thoughts go to our subtle body, then our mind will become new. Without that, whatever the external things cannot make us new for a long time. So that's why reading of Srila Prabhupada books is the most important thing for us. And another thing is, when you are reading Prabhupada, really you can feel Prabhupada is in front of you. Prabhupada is sitting in front of you and is telling Krishna pastimes. That feel you can experience. He present in the form of Vani, presenting, is telling us. So that's why this opportunity, especially when you are reading books, you should not miss. Give good quality of time and quality time, not like when you are tired, when you are very no energy, reading doesn't help. If you give good quality of time, you can enjoy and you can feel newness, a continuous ever newness. Okay? I will end by this. Srila Prabhupada ki